Okay, in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to cut out parts of images to combine them together, because one of the powers of Photopea and any graphics editing software is to be able to combine different images together. So I've opened Photopea. I've got 4 images. I've got this spaceship, got our old friend the man on the mountain again, I've got a picture of a house, and I've got this picture of a coastline, and I'll combine them all together by cutting various parts of different images out. I'm going to start off with the spaceship, because there's different methods of cutting images out. Now if you've got an image like this with a nice plain background, it's very easy to use the eraser tool, and specifically the background eraser. So clicking and holding down the eraser tool, you select background eraser. Now I've used the square arrow to make the brush size quite big, so I can click and it will remove the background from the image like this. So you should see there's no background. There's a tiny bit down the bottom there, you can just about see the eraser tool down there. Okay, so now I've removed the background completely because it's one solid colour, so it's quite easy for Photopea to pick it up. So I've moved on to the select tool, and I'm going to drag this up onto this image and then drop it on there. I can resize it a bit, maybe rotate it a bit, and now I've copied the one image, cut it out and put it onto this image. That's the one type of cutting out, just removing the background simply. Okay, so the second type of selecting and cutting an image out is by using the magic wand, which is this tool here. The magic wand tries to select parts of an image that are the same. Now there's a tolerance that you can set it on here. Now I'm going to set this to about 25. You have to play around with it and experiment depending on what image you're using. But set the tolerance and then click on part of the image that you want to select. Now it's tried to select as much of the image as it can that's similar. You want to add a bit more to this selection by holding down the shift key and then clicking and adding a bit more. So you can click and add, so it's now adding more to the selection. That bit there. That's selected most of the image. There's a few bits there. I could probably spend a bit more time selecting them if you wanted to. And there's a bit down the bottom here that's selected, but we can always rub that out later. Now because of the way this is selected, to copy this to the other image, we'll need to use copy and paste. So I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to go to my background image, this one, edit, and then paste. Now you'll see it's very, very small because this image is a lot higher resolution. It's a much bigger image. So I can move the character around, select him, move him. I'm going to actually move him up here, put him on the top of this grass up here. Then I could spend a bit of time rubbing the bit out down there if I wanted to, but that's just the idea of cutting it out by using the magic wand tool. And you can see here, as I paste new images onto the image, they go into new layers, so each of these images will be on a separate layer, which gives you a lot more control over blending them in later and editing them should you want to play around with the images later. Now the final type of cutting out is probably the most accurate and the most time consuming. If you've got quite a detailed image like this and I want to cut the house out of that image, the best way to do that is by using the pen tool, which is down here. And then at the top I'm going to change this from shape so that it says path, because I want to actually make a selection, and then you click individual points all around what you want to cut out. Now this is where the more time you take in it, the more accurate you are, the better the results will be. So now I've nearly clicked all the way around the image. I'm coming back to where I started from. When I click on the last point there, I've now gone all the way around. I can right click and make selection, and you'll notice then it now changes into that dotted line. So I've now got a selection. Now one thing that is a good idea to do with an image like this is to go to the select, modify and add a feather. You can also use the shortcut Shift X6, F6 sorry. So feather of about 2 or 3 pixels just blurs that boundary between the bit that you're cutting out, so you don't get a sharp edge, and that's a good idea when you're cutting it out to put into another image. So okay, I can now copy that, go to my final image and then paste it into here, and then move it around with the move tool, and I put that house onto that part up there like that. You might want to resize the image and just change it around a bit, or could leave it there. But they're the 3 basic methods of cutting out, by using the eraser tool, the magic wand, or actually using the pen. Later on in another tutorial I'll look how to change the blend modes and the lighting effects so that house doesn't look like it's just been plonked there, so it does actually blend it in a bit more detail. But they're the basic methods of cutting out.